Mr. Netanyahu must escalate to survive. And he believes that escalating the war is ultimately Israel's salvation. How do you escalate the war? You goad Iran into attacking you. And this is a direct provocation designed to precipitate a major response from Iran. So it's a foregone conclusion that if Mr. Netanyahu is successful and we are dragged into this, we will end up fighting with the Russians directly. Most of your political class is bought and paid for by the Israeli lobby. Hatred has taken over. Emotion has taken over. There is no rational calculus unless you want to judge plans for the annihilation of Arabs in Gaza, in the West Bank, and potentially southern Lebanon as a rational calculus. I don't think you're going to see a deliberate counterstrike from Iranian soil because, again, the Iranians don't want a war. This is the thing that has to be understood. Nobody in the region except the Israelis and the United States are enthusiastic about the war. I think that the globalist elites that are ruling the states in Europe, in Western Europe primarily, are unwilling to admit the truth because they know if they admit the truth, they'll be held accountable at the ballot box and they will lose. I think they're going to lose anyway. But when the truth comes out, they've had it because they've also committed suicide economically, as you know, by rejecting cheap Russian energy and turning to us for expensive energy and to other means, believing that the future consists of windmills and solar panels. There's no future for windmills and solar panels. That's a lot of nonsense. Civilization needs a lot of cheap, effective energy. You're only going to get that from coal, oil, gas, and nuclear power. But they're going to persist in this fantasy as long as they can. They have nowhere else to go. The whole thing is a farce. It's a bad joke. It is foreshadowing the end of the European Union, I think, and the end of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, all to support this mindless, impulsive war against Russia, utilizing the Ukrainian people and their country as cannon fodder. But then again, I think that we have perhaps the most ill-equipped, ill-prepared people in the history of this country running our foreign and defense policy, as well as our domestic agenda. They don't live in the real world. They're in a bubble in Washington. I run into people all the time that say, there's no economic crisis. There's no problem. We can continue to print money. And all you have to do is use your head and understand that every 100 days we add another $1 trillion to the national sovereign debt. But that doesn't make any difference because we dominate the world financially. Well, that's changing. And now that Moscow has the lead in the BRICS, and that BRICS organization is growing rapidly, I think you're going to see a move to gold-pegged currency in much of Eurasia. And as that develops, the dollar is going to be reduced in importance and essentially expelled. The future is grim.